I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start 3 years back, when Andrea first sat me down at my own kitchen table like I was a child who'd broken something expensive. Dad, we need to talk about your spending. I was 57. I'd owned 2 successful hardware stores for 30 years, sold them both, retired comfortably. My wife Helen and I lived in a 3-bedroom house we'd paid off in 2004. We drove sensible cars. We didn't vacation in Europe or collect art. We were fine. What spending? I asked. Andrea had her tablet out, fingers swiping through screens with the efficiency of someone who'd rehearsed this. Her husband Brandon sat beside her, nodding at appropriate intervals like a dashboard ornament. You spent $400 at Home Depot last month. I'm building a workshop in the garage. $300 at restaurants. Your mother and I eat out twice a week. We're old, we've earned it. Andrea's expression didn't change. That was new. When she was younger, she'd fight back, argue, slam doors. Somewhere in her 30s, she'd learned this corporate smoothness, this unflappable calm that made you feel like the irrational one. Dad, I'm not criticizing. I'm concerned. You're retired now. Fixed income. These habits add up. Brandon leaned forward. We just want to help you make informed choices. I looked at Helen. She was watching Andrea with an expression I couldn't quite read. Not anger, something quieter. I appreciate the concern, I said, but we're fine. Are you? Andrea pulled up another screen. Because you've got $18,000 in checking. That's not enough cushion. You should have 6 months of expenses liquid. At your age, that's at least $40,000. We have savings. In what? A savings account earning 0.01%? Dad, you're losing money to inflation. This continued for an hour. Every financial decision Helen and I had made in the last year, itemized and questioned. The new refrigerator, the roof repair, the vacation to see Helen's sister in Arizona, all of it transformed from ordinary life into evidence of incompetence. Finally, Andrea closed her tablet. I think it would be smart if I took a more active role in managing your finances. Just temporarily, until we get things organized. Organized, I repeated. Optimized, Brandon corrected. He worked in tech. Everything was optimization to him. I appreciate it, I said again, but no thank you. Andrea's smile tightened. Dad, please don't be stubborn about this. I'm not being stubborn. I'm being clear. You're being proud. There's a difference. She left 20 minutes later with Brandon trailing behind her, still nodding. When the door closed, Helen turned to me. She made spreadsheets, Helen said. I saw. About us? I know. Helen picked up the coffee cups Andrea and Brandon had left on the table. She didn't say anything else. She didn't need to. We'd been married 34 years. Some conversations happened in silence. 2 weeks later, Andrea came back. This time she had printed documents, bank statements, investment summaries, a spending analysis that broke down every purchase we'd made in 6 months, color-coded by category. I've been thinking about our conversation, she said. Our conversation, not her ambush. And I really think this would benefit everyone. I've set up a system. It's simple. You keep your cards, your accounts, everything. I just get view access. That way, if something looks off, I can flag it. Flag it, I said, like if someone steals your identity, or if there's a billing error. Dad, you're not getting any younger. These things happen. Helen was in the kitchen, supposedly making tea, but she'd stopped moving. I could see her from where I sat, standing absolutely still at the counter. Andrea, I don't need... Please. She reached across and put her hand on mine. Just let me do this. For Mom. For me. I worry about you both. Her eyes were wet. I'm not proud of what happened next. I should have said no again. Should have held the line. But she was my daughter. My only child. Just view access, I said. Just view access, she promised. She was smiling when she left. Brandon shook my hand, called me a good sport about all this. Helen brought me tea after they were gone. You shouldn't have done that, she said quietly. It's just viewing. What's the harm? Helen looked at me for a long moment. Then she went upstairs without another word. A week later, my debit card was declined at the grocery store. I was buying milk, bread, the usual items. The cashier ran it twice, then apologized and suggested I call my bank. I called from the parking lot. Mr. Peterson, I see the issue. Your card's been restricted. Restricted how? Daily spending limit of $100. Would you like to increase it? I never set a limit. It shows here that the change was authorized on the account. Let me check. Yes, Andrea Peterson made the adjustment through the online portal. She has management access. I sat in my truck with the phone against my ear, watching people push carts past me. Management access. Yes, sir. Is there a problem? No, I said. No problem. When I got home, Helen was in the garden. I told her about the card. She didn't look surprised. Are you going to call her? Helen asked. Should I? I don't know what you should do anymore. That stung, but she was right to say it. I called Andrea that night. She answered on the second ring, voice bright. Hey, Dad! My card was declined today. Brief pause. Oh, right. I meant to talk to you about that. I set up some basic spending controls. It's a safety feature. Prevents fraud. It prevents me from buying groceries. Dad, you spent $140 at the store last week. That's excessive for 2 people. Andrea, I'm not saying you can't buy groceries. I'm saying you need to be more mindful. Make a list, plan ahead. You're wasting money on impulse purchases. I could hear Brandon in the background, voice muffled. Andrea laughed at something he said. Can you remove the limit? I asked. I will, if you can show me you're being responsible. This is exactly what we talked about, building better habits. I'm 57 years old. I don't need to build habits. Dad, don't get defensive. This is for your own good. We went in circles for 15 minutes. When I hung up, the limit was still there. Helen was standing in the doorway. What did she say? She said it's for my own good. Helen nodded slowly. Are you angry? I don't know what I am. You should be angry, Helen said. Then she went to bed. I sat in the living room until midnight, staring at nothing. The next month, things escalated. My credit card stopped working. When I called the company, they said the account had been closed at the cardholder's request. Andrea had called them, used her management access to cancel my card. When I confronted her, she was calm. Dad, you had $1,800 on that card, at 22% interest. That's insane. I paid it off and closed it. With whose money? Yours, from your checking account. You should be thanking me. You can't just... I can, actually. You gave me management access. That includes financial decisions. I gave you view access. You signed the bank forms, Dad. Maybe you didn't read them carefully, but that's exactly why I'm doing this. I wanted to yell, to tell her she'd lied, manipulated, crossed every line. But she was already talking again, voice patient, explaining compound interest and credit utilization like I was a student who'd failed a test. Brandon was over that day. He clapped me on the shoulder when Andrea finished her lecture. It's tough love, man, but you'll thank her later. I didn't say anything. After they left, Helen and I sat at the kitchen table. She's stealing from you, Helen said. You know that, right? She paid off a credit card. With your money, without asking. She has access. Because you gave it to her. Helen's voice was sharp. Sharper than I'd heard in years. So, take it back, she continued. Call the bank. Remove her. End this. She's our daughter. She's treating you like you're senile. I didn't have an answer for that. Weeks passed. More changes appeared. My Netflix account was canceled because Andrea decided we were wasting money on streaming services we barely use. Our car insurance was switched to a cheaper company with a higher deductible. The lawn service I'd used for 5 years was terminated because Andrea found someone who charged $40 less. Every change came with an explanation. Every explanation made sense in isolation. But together, they felt like a hand slowly tightening around my throat. Helen started keeping notes. Dates, changes, conversations. She showed me the list one evening. You see it now? She asked. I saw it. I'd seen it for weeks. I just hadn't wanted to name it. What do I do? I asked. Helen looked at me, really looked at me. Whatever you're going to do it soon, before there's nothing left to take back. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went downstairs and opened my laptop, logged into my bank account, except I couldn't. My password didn't work. I tried 3 times. On the 4th attempt, the system locked me out and told me to call customer service during business hours. I called Andrea instead. It was 1 a.m. She answered anyway, voice thick with sleep. Dad, what's wrong? My password doesn't work. What password? Bank account. Silence. Then a sigh. Dad, I changed it. You were using your birthday. That's not secure. So give me the new one. I'll email it to you in the morning. Andrea. Dad, it's 1 a.m. Go to bed. We'll fix this tomorrow. She hung up. Not anger yet. Anger would come later. This was colder. Helen found me there at dawn, still sitting at the kitchen table. She changed the password, I said. Helen didn't react. She just put coffee on and started making breakfast. What are you thinking? She asked after a while. I'm thinking, I said slowly, that I've been very stupid. You trusted her. Same thing. Helen brought me coffee. Strong, black, the way I'd always taken it. So what now? She asked. I looked at my wife. 34 years. She'd never lied to me, never manipulated me, never treated me like I was anything less than her equal. Now, I said, I stopped being stupid. Helen smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. Good, she said, because I've been waiting. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. The first thing I did was call my brother. David lived in Oregon, ran a small accounting firm. We'd never been close. 10 years separated us, different interests, different lives, but he was the only person I knew who understood money at the level I needed. Tom, he said when he picked up. Long time. I need advice. Legal or illegal? Legal. Barely, he laughed. Come on up. We'll talk. I drove to Oregon that weekend, told Andrea I was visiting David, which was true. Didn't mention why, which was smart. Helen stayed home. Someone needs to keep an eye on things, she said. David met me at a coffee shop near his office. He'd aged since I'd last seen him, grayer, thinner, but sharp-eyed. So, he said, tell me. I told him everything, the whole story, from Andrea's first intervention to the changed password. He listened without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow pad. When I finished, he sat back. You're screwed, he said. That's the advice? No, that's the situation. The advice comes next. He tapped his pen on the pad. You gave her management access. That's legal authority. Unless you can prove she's stealing or acting against your interests, you've got no immediate recourse. She changed my password. Which she can do as account manager. Tom, you signed papers. The bank thinks she's authorized. I felt something sink in my chest. So I just wait? Let her keep control? No. David leaned forward. You play a longer game. She's got management access, fine. But you're still the owner. You still have rights. You just need to be smart about using them. How? David smiled. How much do you trust me? More than I trust my daughter, apparently. Good. Because this is going to take time. And you're going to hate parts of it. We talked for 3 hours. David explained banking law, power of attorney limitations, account ownership structures. Most of it went over my head, but the core plan was simple. Andrea had control because I'd given it to her. To take it back, I needed to make her control worthless. You're going to move your money, David said. Slowly, carefully, into accounts she doesn't know about. She monitors everything. Not everything. Not yet. You've still got access to your retirement accounts, right? I nodded. Those require your direct authorization for most changes. She can view them, but she can't move money without you signing, so we start there. Over the next week, David helped me set up a new checking account at a different bank. Small balance, no flags. Then we began the transfers. Not big amounts. That would trigger Andrea's attention. Instead, we moved money in patterns that looked like normal spending. $300 here for car repairs. $500 there for medical expenses. Every transfer documented, justified, normal. The money went into the new account. The new account went untouched. Helen knew. She was the only one, and she covered for me when Andrea called asking about charges. Your father's truck needed new tires, she'd say. Or, he had to see the dentist. You know how he puts that off. Andrea never questioned it. Why would she? Mom was telling her. And I was acting exactly like she expected. Helpless, confused, spending money on things she considered wasteful. 2 months in, I'd moved $18,000. Half of what had been in checking when Andrea first took over. David called it progress. I called it exhausting. You can't rush this, David warned. She's watching for unusual activity. The moment you drain the account, she'll know. She'll fight back. You need her to think everything's normal until the moment it's too late. How long? 6 months. Maybe 8. I wanted to scream. But David was right. This wasn't about anger. It was about winning, so I waited. And while I waited, Andrea got worse. She started showing up unannounced, walking through the house, checking things. Just making sure you're not spending on stuff you don't need, she'd say, like I was a teenager hiding beer in my closet. She questioned Helen about groceries, took pictures of our pantry to track consumption, started a shared spreadsheet where we were supposed to log every purchase over $20. Helen refused. Andrea made it my responsibility instead. Dad, this is simple accountability. Why are you being difficult? Because I'm not a child. Then stop acting like one. That conversation ended with Andrea in tears, Brandon comforting her, and me standing in my own living room feeling like the villain. Helen watched from the kitchen doorway. When they left, she came over and put her hand on my shoulder. "Still think you're doing the right thing?" she asked. "I don't know anymore." "Well, I do. Keep going." So I did. Month 3, Andrea escalated again. She showed up with a financial advisor, some guy named Derek from her investment firm. Mid-30s, expensive suit, handshake that lasted too long. "Your daughter's told me a lot about your situation," Derek said, settling onto my couch uninvited. "What situation?" "The transition into retirement. It's hard. A lot of people struggle with fixed income management." "I'm not struggling." Derek smiled. "Patient. That's what everyone says. But the data tells a different story." He had charts, graphs showing our spending trends, projected shortfalls, risk assessments, all of it designed to make me feel incompetent. "The good news," Derek said, "is that we can fix this. I've worked with Andrea to restructure your portfolio, more conservative allocations, better growth potential, lower fees." "I didn't ask you to restructure anything." "Your daughter has management authority." "On my checking account, not my investments." Derek glanced at Andrea. She jumped in. "Dad, technically that's true, but I'm listed as your beneficiary, and as a concerned party, I have the right to consult on your behalf. Consult isn't the same as decide. Derek's just offering recommendations. Recommendations that you've already implemented." Silence. Derek cleared his throat. "Mr. Peterson, I think there's been a miscommunication." "No," I said. "There's been a very clear communication, and my answer is no." I stood up. "I'd like you both to leave now." Andrea's face went red. "Dad, now." They left. But 3 days later, I got a letter from Derek's firm, confirming the consultation services Andrea had authorized, billing me $4,000 for portfolio restructuring I'd never approved. I called David. "Don't pay it," he said immediately. "They're threatening collections." "Let them threaten. You didn't sign anything. They can't enforce a contract that doesn't exist." "Andrea signed." "Andrea isn't you. Tom, this is good." "How is this good?" "Because she's overreaching, getting sloppy. That's when people make mistakes." I wanted to believe him, but I was tired. Tired of fighting my own daughter, tired of hiding money like a criminal, tired of watching Helen cover for me while Andrea tore through our life like a tornado. "How much longer?" I asked. "Soon," David said. "Just hold on." I held on. Month 4, Andrea tried something new. She suggested we sell the house. "It's too big for just the two of you, and property values are high right now. You could downsize, pocket the difference, live more comfortably." "I like my house." "Dad, be practical. You're sitting on $300,000 in equity. That's wasted capital." "It's my home." "It's an asset, and you're not managing it efficiently." I looked at Helen. She was gripping her coffee cup so hard her knuckles were white. "We're not selling," I said. Andrea sighed. "I'm not asking you to decide today. Just think about it. Brandon and I found a great condo development." "No." "Dad." I said no. She left angry that time. Slammed the door. And Brandon texted me later with a long message about supporting family decisions and being open to change. I deleted it without responding. That night, Helen and I sat in the living room. No TV, no music, just silence. "She's going to keep pushing," Helen said. "I know." "Until there's nothing left." "I know." Helen turned to me. "So when do we push back?" "Soon." "How soon?" I thought about David's timeline. 6 to 8 months. We were only 4 months in. But Helen was right. Andrea wasn't going to stop. She'd take the house, the accounts, everything. She'd put us in some condo she controlled and call it helping. 2 more months, I said. Then we move. Helen nodded. "Good, because I'm done waiting." Helen's idea was simple, dangerous, brilliant. "We record her," Helen said. "Record what?" "Everything. Every conversation, every visit, every threat. We document it all. Then we show it to a lawyer. Prove she's been coercing you." "That's not legal." "We're a one-party consent state. As long as one of us knows we're recording, it's legal." I stared at her. "When did you research this?" 3 months ago, when I saw where this was going." Helen had planned for this. While I'd been moving money, she'd been preparing for war. "You think it'll work?" I asked. "I think it's our best shot." We bought a small recording device online. Arrived 2 days later. Helen tested it, figured out how to hide it, how to transfer files. The next time Andrea came over, we were ready. She arrived on a Saturday morning, alone this time. No Brandon, no lawyer, no specialists, just her. Dad, can we talk? About? Everything. I think we both said things we didn't mean. I let her in. The recorder was in my shirt pocket, running. We sat in the living room. Andrea looked tired. Genuinely tired. I don't want to fight, she said. Then stop. I can't. Not when I think you're making mistakes. What mistakes? Withdrawing your retirement, hiding money. Dad, I know you moved funds. I saw the transactions before you closed the account. That was my right. It was stupid. You're going to run out of money, and then what? You think I'm going to support you? I never asked you to. You won't have to ask, because I'm your daughter, and I'll do it. But it'll be so much harder because you refuse to let me help now. Her voice was rising, getting sharp. Andrea, I appreciate... No, you don't. You don't appreciate anything. I've spent 3 years trying to fix your finances. 3 years, and you fought me every step. Because I didn't need fixing. You did? You do? Dad, you're almost 60. You've got maybe 20 good years left, and you're wasting them being stubborn. Or maybe I just want to live my own life. Andrea laughed, sharp, bitter. Your own life. You can't even manage a checking account without my help. I managed fine for 57 years. No, you managed sloppily. There's a difference, and now you're paying for it. She stood up, paced. I tried to do this nicely. I tried to be patient. But you've left me no choice. No choice for what? I'm filing for conservatorship. Leonard's preparing the papers now. On what grounds? Cognitive decline, financial mismanagement, inability to care for yourself? I'm fine. You're not. And I've got 3 years of documentation to prove it. Every missed payment, every stupid purchase, every time you needed me to fix something you broke. She was angry now, really angry. The mask was off. You're going to lose, Dad, and when you do, I'm going to sell this house. I'm going to move you and Mom into managed care, and I'm going to make sure you never get the chance to screw up your life again. Silence. Are you done? I asked quietly. Andrea blinked, like she'd just realized what she'd said. I didn't mean... Yes, you did. Dad, get out. Please, just listen. Get out of my house. She left, took her purse, her threats, everything. When the door closed, I pulled out the recorder. Helen came downstairs. Did you get it? She asked. All of it. We listened to the recording together. Andrea's voice clear and cruel, promising to take everything. This is good, Helen said. This is evidence. Of what? That my daughter's angry at me? That she's not trying to help you. She's trying to control you. There's a difference, and a judge will see it. I wasn't sure, but I sent the file to David anyway. He called back an hour later. This is gold, he said. Tom, this is exactly what we needed. It's just her being angry. No, it's her admitting she's going to force you into managed care against your will. That's not protection, that's imprisonment. No judge will grant conservatorship after hearing this. For the first time in months, I felt hope. So what do? We wait for her to file, then we respond. Provide the recording as evidence, show she's acting out of control, not concern. And if the judge doesn't care, then we appeal. But Tom, trust me, this changes everything. I wanted to believe him. 2 weeks later, Andrea filed. The papers arrived by courier, official, legal, terrifying. Petition for conservatorship, citing financial mismanagement, cognitive decline, risk of self-harm through negligence. The court date was set for 6 weeks out. I called David. He recommended a lawyer in town. Woman named Rebecca, specialized in elder law. Rebecca reviewed the conservatorship petition in her office while I sat across from her. This is aggressive, she said finally. Can we fight it? Yes, but it's going to be expensive and ugly. How ugly? Andrea's claiming you're a danger to yourself. That's a high bar. But if she convinces a judge, you'll lose all autonomy. She'll control your money, your medical decisions, where you live, everything. She can't do that. She can if the court agrees, but we've got the recording. That helps? Rebecca played it. Listened to Andrea's threats. This is good, she said. Shows her motive isn't protection, it's control. We can use this. What's our strategy? We prove you're competent. Get your doctor to testify. Show your financial records. Demonstrate that the retirement withdrawal was strategic, not impulsive. It was impulsive. Rebecca looked at me. No, it wasn't. You withdrew funds to protect them from Andrea's overreach. That's not impulsive. That's defensive. We frame it that way. I nodded. One more thing, Rebecca said. If we win this, Andrea's going to be furious. You need to be ready for that. I'm ready. I wasn't. I was right. Andrea didn't take the loss quietly. The first sign came 2 days after the hearing, a text message. You humiliated me in front of a judge. I hope you're proud. Then another. Brandon's furious. Says I should cut you off completely. Then a third. Maybe he's right. I didn't respond. Rebecca had advised against any contact. Let her cool down, Rebecca said. Engaging will only make it worse. But Andrea wasn't cooling down. She was heating up. She started calling family members, cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. Helen's sister in Arizona, even my brother David. She's telling everyone you're losing your mind, David reported, that the judge was biased, that you manipulated the system. What are people saying? Mostly nothing, but a few are buying it. She's convincing, Tom. She always has been. The social campaign continued for weeks. Andrea posted vague messages on social media about family betrayal and protecting loved ones from themselves, never named me directly. But everyone knew. Helen's friends started asking questions, concerned calls, awkward coffee invitations where they'd probe about my health and decision-making. Helen shut it down every time. My husband is fine. Our daughter is the problem. But the damage was done. People talked. Rumors spread. Brandon escalated next. He sent an email to my investment advisor suggesting they'd been misled about my competence, requested they freeze my accounts pending a third-party evaluation. The advisor called me. Mr. Peterson, I received an unusual request from your son-in-law. Ignore it. I intend to, but I wanted you to know. This is concerning behavior. I know. Do you need help? Legal protection? I'm already working with a lawyer. Good, because this feels like harassment. It was harassment, but proving it was different from feeling it. Rebecca reviewed the emails, the texts, the social media posts. It's not enough for a restraining order, she said. Nothing explicitly threatening, just toxic. So, I do nothing? You document everything, and you wait. Wait for what? For her to cross a line. Andrea crossed the line 3 weeks later. She filed a complaint with Adult Protective Services, claimed I was a vulnerable adult being financially exploited by Helen. The investigator showed up on a Tuesday afternoon, young guy, earnest expression, clipboard. Mr. Peterson, I'm here about a report of potential exploitation. Who filed it? I can't disclose that, but I need to ask you some questions. Helen was furious. This is retaliation, pure and simple. I understand your frustration, the investigator said, but I have to follow up on all reports. He asked about our finances, our relationship, whether Helen controlled the money, whether I felt pressured or coerced. I answered honestly. My wife and I share everything. We make decisions together. There's no exploitation. Can you prove that? What kind of proof do you need? He asked to see bank statements, account access, evidence that I controlled my own money. I showed him everything, the new account, the retirement funds, the transaction history. Everything's in your name, he noted. Yes. And your wife has access? Joint access, like any married couple, he made notes. And your daughter? Has no access, because she abused it. More notes. Okay, he said finally. I don't see any evidence of exploitation. I'll close the case. What happens to whoever filed the false report? Nothing, unless you pursue charges for filing a false report, but that's difficult to prove. After he left, Helen sat down hard. She's not going to stop, Helen said. I know. So what do we do? I thought about that. Andrea had lost in court, lost her access, lost her control, but she hadn't lost her fury. She was going to keep attacking, keep filing complaints, spreading rumors, trying to destroy us socially and legally, unless I made her stop. We fight back, I said. How? We do to her what she tried to do to me. Helen's expression shifted. What are you thinking? I'm thinking Andrea's built her whole life on image, professional reputation, social standing. What if we took that away? How? I pulled out my phone, started scrolling through contacts. Andrea works at a wealth management firm, big clients, corporate accounts. What if those clients knew what she tried to do to her own father? Helen stared at me. You want to go after her job. I want to go after her credibility. She tried to declare me incompetent, tried to institutionalize me, all while claiming she was protecting me. Her clients deserve to know what kind of person they're trusting with their money. That's brutal. She was going to put me in managed care. Helen nodded slowly. Okay. How do we do it? I called David first. I need to know everything about Andrea's job. Clients, structure, who she reports to. Why? Because I'm done playing defense. David was quiet. Tom, if you go after her professionally, there's no coming back from that. You understand? This ends your relationship permanently. It ended the moment she filed for conservatorship. Are you sure? I thought about that recording. Andrea's voice, promising to take everything. I'm sure. David sent me information over the next few days. Andrea worked for a firm called Westridge Financial, managed portfolios for high net worth individuals. Her boss was a man named Gregory. Reputation obsessed. Zero tolerance for scandal. I wrote a letter, formal, professional. Laid out exactly what Andrea had done. The conservatorship attempt, the financial manipulation, the false APS report, included copies of the court transcript, the judge's ruling, the recording. This is the person managing your client's money, I wrote. Someone who tried to steal from her own father. I didn't send it immediately. Sat on it for a week, gave Andrea one last chance to back off. She didn't. Instead, she filed a complaint with the medical board against my doctor. Claimed he'd failed to diagnose my cognitive decline. My doctor called me, bewildered. Tom, I just got the strangest letter. Your daughter is accusing me of malpractice. I'm sorry. What's going on? I explained. The whole story. My doctor was silent for a long moment. That's unconscionable, he said. I'll respond to the board. This is clearly retaliatory. I know, and I'm sorry you're caught in it. Don't apologize, just stop her. That night, I sent the letter to Gregory at Westridge Financial. Rebecca tried to talk me out of it. This could backfire, she warned. Andrea could sue for defamation. Everything in that letter is true? Truth is a defense, but lawsuits are expensive and exhausting. I don't care anymore. I sent it. Gregory called me 3 days later. Mr. Peterson, I received your letter. And I've launched an internal investigation. If what you're saying is accurate, it's a serious ethical breach. It's accurate. I have documentation. I'd like to see it. I sent everything. Court transcripts, recordings, bank statements showing Andrea's manipulation. Gregory reviewed it all. 2 weeks later, Andrea was put on administrative leave pending the investigation. She called me, screaming. You destroyed my career. Are you happy? I'm protecting myself. By ruining my life, you tried to ruin mine first. I was trying to help you. No, you were trying to control me. There's a difference. She was crying now. I'm going to lose my job. Because of you. You're going to lose your job because of what you did. I hate you. I know. She hung up. Helen found me sitting in the kitchen. She called? Yes. How do you feel? I thought about that. Empty, I said. Helen sat down beside me, put her hand on mine. We can stop, she said. If you want. Pull back. Let her keep her job. And then what? She gets away with it? Maybe. But you get your daughter back. I don't have a daughter anymore. I have an enemy who happens to share my DNA. Helen squeezed my hand. Okay, she said. Then we finish it. Andrea was fired 6 weeks later. Gregory called to inform me personally. We concluded our investigation. Ms. Peterson violated multiple ethical guidelines, conflict of interest, failure to disclose personal financial entanglements. We've terminated her employment. Thank you for letting me know. Mr. Peterson, I want to apologize. If we'd known about her behavior earlier, we could have intervened. You and your family shouldn't have had to endure this. I appreciate that. After I hung up, I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief. Just a hollow space where my relationship with Andrea used to be. Helen watched me from across the room. Is it over? She asked. I don't know. It wasn't. Andrea spiraled fast. Without her job, without income, she and Brandon started cracking. First, their lease wasn't renewed. They'd been renting a high-end apartment downtown. Couldn't afford it anymore. Then Brandon's car was repossessed. Leased, not owned, payments missed. Andrea tried to find new work, but Westridge had flagged her termination. Word spread in the industry. Small town, smaller professional circles. No one would hire her. She started posting online again. Long, rambling messages about betrayal and family and how the system failed her. Some people sympathized. Most stayed quiet. Brandon left her 4 months after she was fired. Helen heard about it through a mutual acquaintance. He filed for divorce, cited irreconcilable differences. When? Last week. I thought about Brandon. The way he'd sat beside Andrea during that first intervention, nodding along. The way he'd pushed her to take control of my finances. He'd been in it for the money, the stability, the image of success. Now that it was gone, so was he. Good, I said. Tom, he was using her, just like she was using me. Helen didn't argue. Andrea called me 2 weeks after Brandon left. I didn't answer. She called again and again. Finally, she left a voicemail. Dad, I know you don't want to talk to me, but I need help. Brandon left. I'm losing the apartment. I don't have anywhere to go. Her voice was broken, raw. Please, I'm sorry. For everything. I was wrong. I know that now. But I'm your daughter, and I need you. I played the message for Helen. What are you going to do? She asked. What should I do? I can't answer that for you. I sat with the question for days. Part of me wanted to help. She was my daughter, my child. I'd held her when she was born, taught her to ride a bike, walked her down the aisle at her wedding, but another part of me remembered the conservatorship hearing, the recording, her voice promising to institutionalize me. I'm going to make sure you never get the chance to screw up your life again. That part won. I deleted the voicemail. Andrea tried emailing, texting. She even showed up at the house once. I didn't answer the door. She sat on the porch for an hour, crying. Then she left. Helen watched from the window. She's broken, Helen said. She broke herself. Maybe, but she's still your daughter. No, I said. She stopped being my daughter when she tried to take away my freedom. Helen didn't respond, but I saw the look in her eyes. Sadness, maybe disappointment. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Andrea, about how we'd gotten here. When had it started? That first intervention? Earlier? Had there been signs I'd missed? Or had Andrea always been this way? Controlling, manipulative, just hidden better when she was younger. I didn't have answers. What I had was an email from David. Tom, I heard about Andrea losing her job. I know this is hard. But you did the right thing. She went too far. You protected yourself. Don't second-guess that. I wanted to believe him. 3 months after Andrea was fired, she filed for bankruptcy. I saw the notice in the public records. Total liquidation. She'd lost everything. Job, marriage, apartment, credit, all of it gone. Helen showed me the filing. How do you feel? She asked. I don't know. Tom, you destroyed her. She tried to destroy me first. And that makes it okay? I looked at my wife. 34 years. She'd never questioned me like this before. What do you want me to say? I asked. That I feel guilty? I don't. She made her choices. So did you. I protected us. You went further than protection. You annihilated her. What should I have done? Let her keep attacking? You could have stopped after the court case. You won. You had your freedom back. But you kept going. Because she kept coming after me. Did she? Or did you just want revenge? I didn't answer. Helen stood up. I love you, she said, but I'm not sure I like what you've become. She went upstairs. I sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the bankruptcy filing. Was Helen right? Had I gone too far? I thought about the letter to Westridge, the documentation I'd sent, the recordings. I'd told myself it was self-defense. Andrea was attacking my doctor, filing false reports, trying to destroy my reputation. But had I needed to destroy her career, her marriage, her entire life? The answer should have been no. But when I looked at that bankruptcy notice, I felt something dark and satisfied. She'd tried to take everything from me. Now she had nothing, and I'd made that happen. Helen was right. I'd become someone different, someone harder, colder, someone who could watch his daughter lose everything and feel nothing but grim satisfaction. I went upstairs. Helen was in bed, reading. I'm sorry, I said. For what? For who I've become. Helen looked at me over her book. Are you sorry, or are you just saying that? I don't know. Then don't apologize. She went back to reading. I stood there for a moment, then went to the guest room. That night was the first time in 34 years we didn't sleep in the same bed. Things got worse before they got better. Andrea started showing up at places she knew I'd be, grocery store, bank, doctor's office. Not threatening, just present, watching. It was unnerving. Rebecca advised documenting every encounter. If she escalates, we can get a restraining order, but right now she's not doing anything illegal. She's stalking me. She's existing in public spaces. That's different. The encounters continued for weeks. Andrea would make eye contact, but wouldn't approach, just stand there, silent. Helen noticed. "She's trying to break you," Helen said. "It's working. Don't let it." But it was hard. Every time I saw Andrea, I saw what I'd done. The career I'd destroyed. The life I'd dismantled. And I saw what she'd tried to do to me. Both truths existed simultaneously. I couldn't reconcile them. One afternoon, Andrea followed me into a coffee shop. I was meeting David. He was in town for business. Andrea sat 3 tables away, ordered nothing, just watched. David noticed immediately. "Is that her?" "Yes." "Jesus, Tom, she looks awful." He was right. Andrea had lost weight. Her clothes hung loose, hair unwashed, eyes hollow. "I did that," I said. "No, she did that to herself." "Did she? Or did I push her over the edge?" David leaned forward. "Listen to me. Andrea made every choice that led her here. She tried to steal your autonomy, your freedom, your dignity. You fought back. That's not wrong." "Then why do I feel like it is?" "Because she's your daughter, and some part of you still loves her. But love doesn't mean letting someone destroy you." Andrea stood up, walked over to our table. "Dad," she said. David tensed. I just looked at her. "What do you want?" I asked. "To talk." "We have nothing to talk about." "Please, 5 minutes." I glanced at David. He shook his head slightly, but I was tired. Tired of fighting, tired of running into her everywhere. "Fine, 5 minutes." Andrea sat down. David didn't leave, just moved to the counter. "I'm sorry," Andrea said. "For everything. I was wrong. About all of it." "Okay. That's it? Just okay?" "What do you want me to say?" "That you forgive me. That we can fix this." I looked at my daughter. Really looked at her. "I can't forgive you," I said. "What you did, trying to take away my freedom, my autonomy, that's not something I can forgive. But I'm sorry." "I know. But sorry doesn't undo it." Tears started falling. "So what? We just never speak again?" "I don't know." "Dad, please. I've lost everything. My job, Brandon, my home. I have nothing left. That's not my fault. Isn't it? You sent that letter. You got me fired. You filed for conservatorship. You tried to have me declared incompetent. I was trying to help. No, you were trying to control me. There's a difference, and you can't see it. Even now, even after losing everything, you still think you were right." Andrea wiped her eyes. "Maybe I was wrong about the method, but not the intent. Dad, you were making bad decisions. They were my decisions to make. Even if they hurt you. Yes, that's what freedom means." Andrea stood up. "Fine, if that's how you want it." "It's not what I want. It's what it is." She left. David came back to the table. "You okay?" he asked. "No." We finished our coffee in silence. That night, Helen asked me about the encounter. I told her everything. "Do you think she meant it?" Helen asked. "The apology?" "I think she meant it in the moment, but I don't think she's changed." "People can change." "Can they, or do they just learn to hide better?" Helen didn't answer. The stalking stopped after that conversation. Andrea disappeared from my life entirely. No more showing up at stores, no more calls or texts or emails. Just silence. It should have felt like relief. Instead, it felt like loss. 2 months later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Mr. Peterson?" A woman's voice. Professional. "Yes?" "This is Linda from St. Mary's Hospital. You're listed as emergency contact for Andrea Peterson. What happened?" "She was brought in this morning. Overdose. Prescription medication." "Is she alive?" "Yes. But she's in ICU. You should come." I drove to the hospital alone. Helen offered to come. I told her no. This was something I needed to face by myself. The ICU nurse directed me to Andrea's room. She was unconscious. Tubes and monitors everywhere. Pale, fragile. A doctor came in. "Mr. Peterson?" "Yes. I'm Dr. Ramirez. I treated your daughter when she came in." "What happened?" "Overdose. Combination of anti-anxiety medication and sleeping pills. If her neighbor hadn't found her when they did, she wouldn't have made it." "Did she... Was it intentional?" Dr. Ramirez hesitated. "We can't say for certain, but given the quantity and combination, it's likely." I sat down hard. "Is she going to be okay?" "Physically, yes. We pumped her stomach. She'll need monitoring for a few days, but mentally? Mr. Peterson, your daughter needs help. Professional help. I know. Does she have support? Family? Friends? I looked at Andrea, unconscious, alone. She has me, I said. The words came out before I could stop them. Dr. Ramirez nodded. Good, because she's going to need you. I sat with Andrea for hours, watching her breathe, listening to the monitors. Because of me. That thought wouldn't leave. I'd destroyed her career, pushed her into bankruptcy, driven away everyone in her life, and when she'd tried to apologize, I'd rejected her. Now she was here. Helen arrived around midnight. I'd called her. She stood in the doorway, looking at Andrea. How is she? Helen asked. Alive. Helen came to stand beside me. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. Tom, you can't blame yourself for this. Can't I? I did this to her. She did this to herself? You defended yourself. That's not the same thing. I went too far. Maybe, but she went too far first. I looked at my wife. When did we become people who keep score like this? I asked. Helen didn't answer. Andrea woke up 2 days later. I was there, sitting beside her bed. She looked at me. Confusion, then recognition, then shame. Dad. Hey, you came? Of course I came. I didn't think you would. You're my daughter. Tears started. I'm sorry for everything, for the overdose, for... Stop, don't apologize right now, just rest. But she kept talking. I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to. I just wanted it to stop hurting. I know. I've lost everything. I know. And it's my fault, all of it. I see that now. I reached out, took her hand. We'll figure it out, I said. How? I don't know yet, but we will. Andrea fell back asleep. Helen was waiting in the hallway. You're going to help her, Helen said. It wasn't a question. Yes. Why? Because she's my daughter, and because I pushed her here. She pushed herself. We both did, and I'm done fighting. Helen looked at me for a long moment. Okay, she said finally. But Tom, if you do this, if you let her back in, you have to set boundaries. Real ones. Or this cycle just starts again. I will. Promise me. I promise. We went home that night. I couldn't sleep, just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Everything I'd done over the past year played in my head. The recordings, the letter to Westridge, the ruthless dismantling of Andrea's life. I'd told myself it was self-defense, protection. But Helen was right. I'd gone further than that. I'd wanted revenge, and I'd gotten it. Now my daughter was in a hospital bed because the pain I'd caused was too much to bear. Was I the villain here, or was Andrea? Maybe we both were. Andrea was released from the hospital after 5 days. The doctors recommended inpatient psychiatric treatment. Andrea refused. I can't afford it, she said. I paid for it. 30 days at a facility outside the city, individual therapy, group sessions, medication management. Andrea was resistant at first. I don't need this. I made a mistake. Andrea, please do this for yourself. She went, mostly because she had nowhere else to go. I visited once a week, short visits, awkward conversations. Helen came with me sometimes, sat quietly while Andrea and I fumbled through small talk. In week 3, Andrea's therapist asked to meet with me. Her name was Dr. Mills, kind face, direct manner. Mr. Peterson, I want to talk about Andrea's treatment plan. Okay. She's made progress, but there's an underlying issue we need to address. What issue? Control. Andrea has a pathological need for it. It's rooted in anxiety, fear of chaos. When she can't control her environment, she spirals. I noticed. Dr. Mills smiled slightly. I'm sure you did. But here's the thing. Andrea's need for control didn't come from nowhere. It was learned. From who? I can't say for certain without more history. But often, this behavior develops in response to a chaotic or unpredictable childhood environment. I thought about that. Andrea's childhood hadn't been chaotic. Helen and I had been stable, present, loving. But maybe that was the problem. Maybe we'd been too stable, too protective, never let Andrea struggle or fail. So when she became an adult and faced real uncertainty, she couldn't handle it. What can I do? I asked. Support her. But don't enable. If Andrea asks you to solve her problems, don't. Let her find her own solutions. That's how she'll learn she doesn't need to control everything to survive. And if she spirals again? Then she spirals. And you'll be there to help her get back up, but you can't prevent every fall. I left the meeting feeling heavy. When Andrea was discharged, she needed a place to stay. Helen and I discussed it. She can't come here, Helen said. Where else will she go? That's not our problem. She's our daughter. She's a grown woman who tried to destroy you. Tom, I understand wanting to help, but letting her back into this house? That's too much. So what do I do? Help her find an apartment. Pay first month's rent if you want, but don't let her move in. I found Andrea a small studio apartment across town, furnished, month-to-month lease. I paid for 3 months up front. When I gave her the keys, she cried, "Thank you, Dad." "You're welcome. I don't deserve this." "Probably not, but I'm doing it anyway." She moved in the next day. Helen helped her shop for basics, groceries, toiletries, sheets. I stayed away, gave them space. That night, Helen came home exhausted. "How is she?" I asked. "Fragile, but trying." "That's something." Helen sat down beside me. "Tom, I need to know, are you doing this out of guilt or because you actually want a relationship with her?" "I don't know." "You need to figure it out, because if it's just guilt, this won't work. You'll resent her. She'll sense it. And the cycle starts again. What if it's both? Then deal with the guilt separately. Don't make Andrea responsible for fixing what you feel." She was right. Over the next few months, I saw Andrea once a week. Coffee, lunch, nothing intense. She was working part-time at a retail store, minimum wage, humiliating for someone who'd managed million-dollar portfolios. But she didn't complain. "It's honest work," she said once. "How are you handling it?" "Some days are better than others. I still think about what I lost. But Dr. Mills says that's normal." "You're still seeing her?" "Twice a week. I can't afford it. But she's doing sliding scale for me." "That's good." Andrea looked at me. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Do you hate me?" The question hung there. "No," I said finally. "I don't hate you." "But you don't trust me." "No, I don't." Andrea nodded. "That's fair." We finished our coffee in silence. Helen asked me about these meetings. "How do they go?" "Fine. Awkward, but fine." "Do you think you'll ever trust her again?" "I don't know. Maybe, but not soon." "Good. Don't rush it." I didn't. 6 months after her discharge, Andrea got a better job. Office administrator for a nonprofit, modest salary, benefits. She called to tell me. "They don't know about Westridge," she said. "I didn't lie on the application, but I didn't volunteer it either." "That's smart. Is it? Or is it dishonest?" "It's survival." Andrea was quiet. "I'm trying to be better, Dad. I really am." "I know. Do you think I'll ever get past this? What I did?" "I think you'll learn to live with it. We both will." After I hung up, I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. Helen noticed. "You're softening," she said. "Is that bad?" "Not bad, just different. I'm not sure I'm ready to soften yet." "Why not?" "Because she hurt you, and I'm still angry about that." I pulled Helen close. "You don't have to forgive her," I said. "That's not your job." "What is my job?" "To keep me honest, like you always do." Helen smiled slightly. "I can do that." 1 year after the overdose, Andrea invited us to her apartment for dinner. She'd been saving, bought a small table, cooked from scratch. Helen was skeptical. "Are you sure about this?" she asked in the car. "No, but we should try." Dinner was awkward at first. Small talk, safe topics. Then Andrea set down her fork. "I need to say something." Helen and I waited. "I know I've apologized before, but I want to apologize again. What I did, the conservatorship, the manipulation, all of it, there's no excuse. I was wrong, and I'm sorry." "We've been through this," I said. "I know, but I need you to understand. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't expect that. I just need you to know I see what I did, and I hate who I was." Helen spoke up. "Do you understand why it was so wrong?" she asked. Andrea looked at her. "Yes, I tried to take away his autonomy, his right to make his own choices. I treated him like he was incompetent when he wasn't." "And?" Helen pressed. "And I did it because I was scared. Scared of losing control, scared of him making mistakes, but mostly scared of being irrelevant. That stopped me." "Irrelevant?" I asked. "Yes. You and Mom were fine. You didn't need me, and that terrified me. So I created a need. Made myself essential by convincing you that you were failing." Andrea's voice cracked. "I made you doubt yourself so I could feel important. That's the worst part. Not that I took over your finances. but that I made you question your own competence to do it. Helen reached across the table, took Andrea's hand. Thank you for saying that, Helen said quietly. We finished dinner. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. As we left, Andrea hugged me. I love you, Dad. I love you too. Even after everything? Even after everything. On the drive home, Helen was quiet. What are you thinking? I asked. I'm thinking that was hard, but necessary. Do you believe her, that she's changed? I believe she's trying. That's enough for now. We drove in silence for a while. Tom? Yeah? I'm proud of you for not giving up on her. I gave up for a long time. But you came back. That matters. When we got home, I sat in the living room, thought about the past 2 years, the fight, the conservatorship, the destruction of Andrea's career, the overdose, the slow, painful rebuilding. We weren't fixed. Maybe we'd never be. But we were trying. And for now, that was enough. Things stayed quiet for a while. Andrea worked her nonprofit job, saw her therapist, met with us every few weeks. She was rebuilding, slowly. Then, 14 months after the overdose, something changed. Andrea called me on a Tuesday night. Dad, I need to tell you something. Okay. I saw Brandon today. I felt myself tense. Where? Coffee shop downtown. He was with someone. A woman. Did he see you? Yes. He came over, asked how I was doing. What did you say? I told him I was fine, asked about him. He said he's engaged. How do you feel about that? Andrea was quiet for a moment. Relieved, actually. Seeing him with someone else, it made me realize I don't miss him. I miss who I thought he was. But that person never existed. That's very mature. Dr. Mills helped me work through it. But Dad, that's not why I called. What is it? Brandon asked about you. About us, if we'd reconciled. What did you tell him? The truth, that we're working on it, that it's hard, but we're trying. And he laughed, said he was surprised you even spoke to me after what I did. I felt anger rise. He said that? Yes, but then he said something else. He said I should have waited, that if I'd been patient, I would have gotten everything when you died anyway. The line went silent. Dad? I'm here? He meant the inheritance. He was telling me I should have just waited for you to die instead of trying to take control. What did you say? I threw my coffee at him. Despite everything, I laughed. You did what? I threw my coffee at him, hot, all over his expensive shirt. Then I told him to go to hell. Good. The woman he was with looked horrified. Brandon was yelling. The barista threatened to call the police. I just left. Are you okay? I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. It felt good, standing up to him. I'm proud of you. Really? Really. After we hung up, I told Helen. She smiled. She threw coffee at him? Apparently. I like this version of Andrea better. Me too. But the conversation stuck with me. Brandon had been planning it all along. The push to take over my finances, the conservatorship, all of it calculated to position Andrea as heir. He'd manipulated her, used her control issues against me. And when it failed, he left. I thought about calling Brandon, confronting him. But what would that accomplish? He'd shown his character. Andrea had seen it. That was enough. 2 months later, Andrea got a promotion at the nonprofit. Director of Operations, significant raise, real responsibility. She called to tell us. I didn't think I'd ever get here again, having a real career. You earned it. Did I, or did I just get lucky? Both. That's how life works. Andrea laughed. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just weren't listening. Fair point. The promotion changed something in Andrea. She stood straighter, smiled more. The hollow look in her eyes started to fade. Helen noticed. She's coming back, Helen said one evening. Coming back? To herself, whoever she was before all this happened. I'm not sure I remember who that was. I do. She was bright, ambitious, a little stubborn, but kind. I'd forgotten that part. When did you forget? When she tried to take you away from me. Helen's voice was sharp. Even now, the anger remained. Are you okay with her recovery? I asked. I'm okay with her trying. But Tom, I need you to understand something. What? I will never fully forgive her. What she did, trying to institutionalize you, trying to steal your autonomy. That's not something I can let go. I understand. Do you? Because you've moved on. You've forgiven her, even if you don't say it. But I haven't, and I might never. That's your right. I need you to be okay with that, with me being the one who holds the line. I pulled Helen close. I'm okay with it. You protected me when I couldn't protect myself. You don't have to forgive anyone. We sat in silence. I thought about forgiveness, about what it meant. I hadn't forgiven Andrea. Not entirely. But I'd stopped hating her. That was different. 3 months later, Andrea met someone. His name was James, worked in education, taught high school history. She brought him to dinner. Nervous, fidgeting. James was quiet, polite, asked thoughtful questions. After they left, Helen turned to me. What did you think? He seems decent. That's it? Just decent? What do you want me to say? That I trust my daughter's judgment in men after Brandon? Fair point. But over the next few months, James kept showing up. Family dinners, coffee meetups. He integrated slowly, respectfully. And he was good for Andrea. Calm where she was anxious. Patient where she was rushing. 6 months into their relationship, James asked to speak with me privately. We met for lunch. Mr. Peterson, I want to ask your daughter to marry me. I set down my fork. That's a big step. I know. And I know your history with Andrea is complicated. But I love her, and I want to do this right. What does doing it right look like? Starting with your blessing, if you're comfortable giving it. I looked at James. Really looked at him. Do you know what Andrea did? What she tried to do to me? Yes, she told me everything. And I think she made terrible choices driven by fear and manipulation. But I also think she's worked incredibly hard to change, to understand why she did what she did, to make amends. Has she made amends? I think she's trying every day. I sat back. James, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you this. Andrea has a need for control. It's gotten better, but it's still there. If you marry her, you need to be ready for that. I am. Are you? Because it's not just about managing finances. It's about boundaries, about letting her spiral without trying to fix it, about standing firm when she pushes. James nodded. I understand, and I'm ready. Then you have my blessing. He proposed 2 weeks later. Andrea said yes. They wanted a small wedding, just family and close friends. Helen and I helped plan. It was strange, being involved in Andrea's life again at this level, but it also felt right. The wedding was in the spring. Outdoor ceremony. Simple but beautiful. I walked Andrea down the aisle. She looked at me halfway down. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For not giving up on me. You're my daughter. I couldn't give up even if I wanted to. At the reception, Andrea gave a speech. I want to thank everyone for being here, especially my parents. She looked at Helen and me. Dad, Mom, I know the last few years have been hard. I made choices that hurt you, that damaged our relationship, and I'm sorry. Every day, I'm sorry. Her voice cracked. But you didn't give up on me, even when you had every reason to. And I want you to know, I'm going to spend the rest of my life being the daughter you deserved all along. The room was silent. Helen was crying. So was I. After the speech, Andrea came over. Did I say too much? She asked. No, I said. It was perfect. She hugged me. I love you, Dad. I love you too. We stood there for a moment. Father and daughter, broken but healing. James came over, put his arm around Andrea. You ready to dance? He asked her. Ready as I'll ever be. They walked to the dance floor. Helen took my hand. How are you feeling? She asked. Hopeful. That's a good feeling. It is. We watched Andrea and James dance. Do you think she's really changed? Helen asked. I think she's trying, and that's all we can ask. Is it enough? For now. Helen leaned against me. I'm still angry, she said quietly. I know, but I'm trying not to be. That's all I can ask too. We stayed at the reception until the end, watched Andrea leave with James, a new life beginning. On the drive home, Helen was quiet. What are you thinking? I asked. I'm thinking we survived. We did. But barely. Barely still counts. Helen smiled. I suppose it does. When we got home, I sat on the porch, thought about everything, the conservatorship, the recordings, the fight, the rebuilding. We'd lost years. Years we couldn't get back. But we'd found something too. Understanding, boundaries, forgiveness. Not complete, Not perfect, but real. Helen joined me on the porch. "Come to bed," she said. "In a minute." She sat beside me instead. We watched the stars in silence. "Tom?" "Yeah? I'm glad we made it through." "Me too." "Even with everything?" "Even with everything." She took my hand. We sat there until the cold drove us inside, together.